Welcome to the Real Talk Weekly podcast, where we discuss news, culture, life, and dive into deep conversations about our faith. Here's your host, Alan Reed.
All right, here we go. America's weirdest Thanksgiving favorites by state. TikTok artist Entombed's bag of Cheetos.
Duh.
And the $218,000 Sandals. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Candace Cameron Bure and the controversy surrounding her at the moment. Did I say that right? Bure?
We don't know.
Bure?
We actually don't
Nobody
know.
knows.
Beer.
Beret.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about today.
Her husband's Russian, so I think it's beret.
Sure.
There you go. We'll let you pronounce that one for us. So, okay, I've got a good icebreaker, and James, I'm just gonna. It's not that I don't trust
you.
you.
cheat
but-
so much, so
Yeah, he does.
It's not that I
Don't look
don't
at his
trust you, but
screen.
you cheat.
We're gonna do a quiz
Oh, it's a quiz. Okay.
on the
well,
1990s,
That's what I'm saying.
and so you guys are gonna have to keep track of your own points. So I'm just gonna have to trust you how many
Okay.
you get correct.
They
Okay.
weren't even, I guess you guys were born in the 90s.
So yeah,
Yes.
you guys are born in the 90s. So some of these will be on like TV shows and things that you guys like. Just a few on history.
Ooh, fun.
But
David's
well,
a
yeah.
history major.
So here we go. You guys ready for the 1990s quiz?
Yes.
Number one.
Are we gonna do
Wait,
like the
are we slapping heads?
slapping head thing again?
Yeah.
Like the good old days?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be the judge.
Yeah, because you
Who
know the
slaps
answers.
first?
Oh,
When was the World Wide Web first introduced?
Ooh.
97.
No.
Oh, that was dumb.
1993.
No.
91.
Yes. Woo!
Did you
Total
know?
guess.
David gets the point. Well, he probably narrowed it down.
No, I figured it was the same year I was born, so let's just go with that. That was a guess, but it worked out well.
Well, you get a point for it. And see, there's a benefit for not being the first to slap.
Yeah, I know. That's why
I don't remember it being that early.
So don't be slap happy here. I know that is awfully early, but that was probably before it was rolled out to the public.
Maybe. It was only
I
accessible to
remember
government entities.
seeing it at about 4 years old.
Yeah, I remember email for the
AOL.
first time. Yeah,
You've got mail.
Yep.
Great movie.
All right, question number 2. What was the name of the group responsible for Macarena?
Oh,
Oh,
man.
shoot. Oh,
That's a hard one. I would never.
Oh,
I wouldn't
man.
if I can get part of it.
We'll count it if you can get part
yeah,
of
if
it.
you get part of it.
It's like the Latin engine machine or something.
No.
Dang.
I'll give you guys a
engine?
hint. It starts off with Los.
Okay.
It's not Los Lonely Boys.
Los Cabos.
No.
Oh.
Los Del Rio.
I had no idea.
Dang.
Yeah.
I think Los Cabos may be a restaurant my wife likes.
I was like,
What?
what is Cabos?
I
That's
don't know.
Los Angeles. All right. Question. No one got that one. Number 3. Here's a historical question. Who was Russia's first elected president?
Vladimir Putin.
No.
Oh, okay.
oh,
He's the
man.
latest
These are
one.
tough.
Yeah, this one's hard.
Wasn't
I didn't know they were Democratic, so.
it? The dad from Anastasia?
Close.
And I'll kick her, sir.
Boris Yeltsin.
Boris
Boris.
Yeltsin?
He was the first.
I thought that was a comedian.
Yelp.
Yeah.
No.
What are we thinking of?
You're thinking of
Yakov Smirnoff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're thinking of.
I went
gosh.
to
Yeltsin,
we went to
Yakov.
school
I
with
mean,
this
it's the
kid.
same
We
thing.
did.
oh man.
Wow, we are definitely
funny.
profiling.
So far,
hardcore
Allie has
right
the
now.
only point.
No,
No,
David.
I
Oh, no,
won.
David has
Yeah.
the point. 'cause
I
he
just
got the
have
internet.
good guesses.
Yep. Okay, number 4. What's the infamous haircut inspired by the must-see TV?
There's so many.
Okay, I have two.
No,
but
you
I'm
can only
You
say
gotta
one.
just pick one.
Let me finish. Okay, I have 2 ideas, so I'm going to go with what I think, and it's the bowl cut.
No. Okay.
The Rachel Green.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Rachel.
The bowl cut
Rachel.
was the must-do haircut in the 90s because that's what they had on,
The
like...
bowl cut was never a must do.
No.
It was because my kid put gum in their hair.
No, the bowl cut was...
I don't think that ever like.
The weight line. Sorry, it was the weight line cut.
Oh.
Because that's what they had in Saved by the Bell, and that's what they had in Beverly Hills 90210, and...
The bowl cut was a desperate measure.
Yeah, the bowl cut was different.
Yeah.
Weight line is what I
Rachel
was thinking
Green.
of.
Yep.
It's
that's
making
right.
a comeback too.
Yep. Number 5. What hit song was unwittingly written about deodorant?
Oh my gosh.
Teen Spirit.
Yeah, smells like Teen Spirit. Allie is crushing it.
Wow, that
Yes.
was good.
I feel bad because I was the only one who's actually alive in the 90s to remember it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
we were all alive in the 90s.
How many Americans tuned in to watch the O.J. Simpson trial verdict? I'll give you guys.
Like like we can be in the range.
You know what? Just all of three of you answer this one, and whoever's the closest.
Okay.
I'll
Like
just
that.
tell you this: it's in the millions. Obviously,
Okay.
it's not. It's under $1 billion.
The
Okay.
live trial.
What's that? Yeah.
verdict,
How many?
yeah.
How
The
many
verdict
tuned in
or
to
the-
watch the O.J. the trial verdict?
Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna say-
400 million.
Okay, James was 400. And this, we're playing Price is Right rules, right? The closest
Without,
going over.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go.
One.
No, I'm going to be.
$1.
I'm going to go with 401.
401.
Yeah.
401
Oh,
million.
I'm
Yeah.
lowballing
Okay.
for sure. I'm going.
Oh, yeah, I'm way over. There's no
6.2.
way.
I'm just going to go 6.2.
We're way-
6.2 million.
Yeah.
All right, you win.
I was going to say I'm way
It was
over.
95 million. Think about that. That's a lot of people. There's only like what 300 and something million people in the
Is that
country.
all there is?
Well,
Because-
and
Yeah, like you're
what
you're
time of
guessing
day?
above
Our
the population of
population?
our country.
hey, they might be immigrants in the
Wow.
United States.
Yeah, and it
Nice.
probably was watched around the
Smart.
world, but 95
We're
million.
smart. How many points you got now?
free.
Oh, man. I've got
Goose
one.
egg.
Okay, there's time here. Okay, number 7. What was the federal minimum wage for most of the 1990s? I'm gonna go with David.
Well, he had his first.
did you?
Yeah,
Oh.
he did.
I don't even know why I would pick you first. We won't,
Wow.
we won't go into that. We won't go into how mean he's
Wow.
been to me all day. 24
So
hours. David
federal
Friedman.
minimum wage, I believe, was $3.25.
No,
I was going to say $4.50.
very close.
5.25.
David wins.
Was it $4.25?
It's 425.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was $3.75 or $4.25.
Yeah. Number 8. What fashion accessory was invented by a high school shop teacher?
Slap bracelets.
Yo! Making a
Let's go. We're tied in.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, you are tied, right?
You knew for
3 to
Yeah, I
3.
didn't know that one, actually.
That was awesome.
I knew that one.
Because it was a ruler.
And that was quite the slap. I actually hurt my head.
Yeah.
I was
that echoed.
aggressive. Nobody else was going
All
for
right.
it.
When did the Google search engine first debut? Google. When did it first debut? 1990? James?
Yeah, go, James.
1998.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Dang.
Wow.
Well, we're tied. Do you have any
What do we
bonus?
do?
No, I only have one. Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Now between you two, I've got
Yeah.
some extra because I came prepared.
Can we go
So-
through all the extra?
Yeah.
So here we
these
go.
are fun.
Number 11
At least I got
here.
a point before.
What was the most watched TV episode of the 1990s? Episode.
Episode?
This is going to be hard. I don't think
You
you're
know
going
I
to get
can't
this.
remember episodes.
Okay. Episode
Hold on.
90s.
Not going to get it.
Oh, yeah. They're not going to get that.
Can you give us a clue? Like an actor that's in this show?
Ted
No.
Danza. No. Yeah, he was in it.
Ted Danson? Danza?
Danson.
Yeah.
I said Ted.
Is
Ted
Cheers?
Danza. Tony Danza and Ted Danza.
Is it Cheers?
Ted Danson.
The final episode of Cheers?
Yes.
Is it really?
He didn't slap! I went like this and you
No,
said yes.
come
It's
on.
a good thing I have a 12th question. All right. It
Fine.
was
did-
Cheers.
I wasn't say.
What band is featured on Beavis's shirt in Beavis and Butthead?
I was not allowed to
Metallica?
watch that.
Yeah!
Let's
Coming
go.
from behind.
Boom.
Wow, that was good. That was
Man.
I
good.
wasn't allowed to watch that. It was
I wouldn't either, but that
Butthead.
was, I just,
Yeah,
gotta
the
figure it out.
90s.
feel like my forehead is
second
glowing
best
red.
decade ever.
After
What's the best?
80s.
80s?
Well, good.
Everybody
That was
loves
awesome.
that
Good job, guys.
I'm really embarrassed.
Yeah, you
'Cause
came in last.
I know. I agree. I literally, 90s was,
I
my
might
teenage
have.
years.
I might have competed with you on that.
You know,
one.
we were
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
barely alive.
I know.
Wait,
I
you don't have
know.
any more questions, do you? That was the last one.
No, that was the last
fun.
one.
Okay,
That was
cool.
good.
But
nice
I do agree
job.
the 80s was a better.
So, for those of you who are listening for the first time, we do
So-
3 dishes that pretty much have no value whatsoever.
What we
But
just
they're
did.
fun. They
Sometimes.
can be funny.
They have
Yeah,
value.
sometimes. Every once in a while, we have 3 dishes, which are just fun. And then our last one, the deep dish, usually is something that's more interesting, something we can dive into and try to pull out some maybe faith principles, something like that
little
within
something
there.
spiritual.
So, yeah, a little something spiritual here.
It's time for the dish.
So let's start with, since this is Thanksgiving week, we're going to start with Allie's article
Okay.
on America's weirdest Thanksgiving favorites by state.
Right. So, thankfully, a lot of these states have the same weirdo dishes that they put out. I had to Google what some of these were.
Ugh.
And I highly suggest you stop making them. So, majority of states, let me start with Arkansas. Our weird dish that we put out is Jell-O salad.
Is that weird?
I guess so.
I think, yeah, it probably is.
I don't think we typically have that at our home, but I've had it plenty of times, and it's delicious.
What is Jell-O salad?
Well,
is it
does-
just Jell-O with cat food in
It's
it?
got some creamy stuff in it. I don't know.
Ew.
Is it
Jell-O
like
mold?
whipped cream?
The
Mayonnaise.
blessing.
I wish my mom was here. She could tell you. Is it like whipped cream or some kind of cream?
Does it have like fruit and stuff in it?
I feel like Jell-O salad is where you make the Jell-O and you suspend fruit in it.
Listen, it's all, Jell-O salad has cottage
Okay.
cheese in it. That's the tricky
Oh.
one.
It has cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Weird.
So some people make Jell-O salad with gelatin, fruit, grated carrots or other vegetables, sometimes perhaps, or cottage cheese, cream cheese, marshmallows, nuts, or pretzels.
Weird.
These are all like retro dishes that really were started in the 60s and should have ended
yeah.
in the 60s as well.
Like
Your grandmama made these,
Hey,
and
I don't
she
agree
still
with you
has
on
the
this.
dish.
grandma mama.
I agree with you on
Grandma
Jell-O
mama.
salad, but some of the other ones, I don't agree with you on it.
That's
okay,
fine, you
so
don't
what's
have
the
to.
weirdest one on here?
Okay, so Jell-O salad is up there. There are only 3 different, and they're all variations of the same dish.
That's the thing that's really weird.
Ambrosia salad,
Love ambrosia salad.
which is a variety of fruit salad, and it contains canned or fresh pineapple, mandarin oranges, and orange sections, mini marshmallows, and coconut.
I can go with that.
That one's fine.
Just leave the pineapple out because I don't want to die from
The
eating it.
pictures are all just so disgusting looking.
We never put coconut in ours either.
It looks like
There's one of them that came out
creamy-
multiple times. It's pretty darn weird.
Yeah, the weirdest one is frog eye salad, which I've never heard of before.
I've never heard
Okay,
of that
so
one either.
please tell me
It
it,
looks like
doesn't
that's a
include
northern
real
thing.
frog eyes.
It doesn't.
I'm not
Okay,
going to
good.
say it doesn't, David.
Unless it's scrambled in
No,
there.
but
like you don't
it's-
see the
Speaking
eyeball.
of scrambled, it has small noodles,
Ugh.
egg yolk, which I thought you weren't supposed to be eating, Cool Whip, canned citrus fruit, and marshmallow.
Well, they do it in those workout montages all the time, so maybe
And
we should.
I'm not be doing any of that.
That'd be cool to do.
But it's called a dessert pasta salad. And I think that's disgusting.
What?
Yeah.
The last way I want to finish my meal is with pasta salad.
That one just grosses me
with
out because it has
chocolate.
pasta in it.
Yeah.
That's like Buddy the Elf
And egg yolk.
spaghetti.
Yeah, I mean, like, that would go away. You
Yeah,
wouldn't necessarily
ew,
notice it.
spaghetti and syrup.
Yeah.
But,
I'd rather have
like,
that.
you're just not, like, pasta?
We need to try something like that.
No.
We need to try
I
either
will
spaghetti
die.
with syrup
I
or
would do
frog-eyed, whatever it was called.
I'll
Frog-eyed
make
what?
ambrosia.
Frog-eyed death. A delicious addition to the Thanksgiving table is a cake or like a pie.
Have you had ambrosia salad or Watergate salad?
Watergate? Absolutely not. It's green.
It's pistachio.
I like pistachios. I don't like pistachio pudding.
It just tastes like pistachios.
It's just the lettuce part that she struggles with.
Lettuce?
It's not.
lettuce. Not
If I
every
need a
salad has
What'd you say, the
lettuce.
green?
I want lettuce. It's just green in color. My mom makes, I will say my mom makes ambrosia salad, and I would get like 1 tablespoon. Guys, how do you define salad?
A cold dish
Salad.
of various mixtures of raw or cooked vegetables,
Ew.
usually seasoned with oil, vinegar. That's like a normal definition.
Well, one of the definitions is a usually incongruous mixture, aka hodgepodge, which is what all these nasty
Yeah.
desserts.
So I guess that's what a
salads
salad
are.
is.
Yeah, us
Salad is-
Americans.
Salad is, I guess, a mixture.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all of these came from the South.
Yeah.
Even the
makes
frog-eyed soup or frog-eyed whatever.
Frog eyes.
Ew!
That's
Frog-eyed
something
is a
different.
salad. Frog-eyed, what was it?
Yeah,
something the
frog eye
Clampetts make,
salad.
Yeah.
And
I've
they
had
said it
frog-eyed.
looks like
I've actually
frog
had-
eyes.
I've had fish-eyed soup, not frog-eyed.
Ew.
Yeah. Very
Gross.
first dish
Well,
in South Korea.
There's that. Don't put it on your plate and don't put it on your Thanksgiving
You can add
table.
those to the things we want to take away from Thanksgiving meals like we
Yes.
did last week.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Anyways,
delicious.
that's
All right.
that.
Thank you, Allie. That's good. All right. Let's
was
go with the
nasty.
Cheetos.
All
The
right.
Cheeto bag.
So a while back, we all discussed what we would put in our time capsule.
I don't think I was here for that episode.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, you were.
Was I?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
just-
surprising to go back and look
You
back.
know, when you get as old as I am, the old memory's not quite as strong as it used to be.
Yeah.
So all of us decided what we would put in our time capsules, but this hero decided to put a bag of flaming hot Cheetos in a sarcophagus and bury it in.
It wasn't like a little shoebox. It was like
It's a 3,000
It's a 3,000-pound sarcophagus.
Where do you order that?
He spent
Like Etsy?
$1,200
the shipping costs.
he spent $1,200 in materials to build this thing, and it is literally just a bag, a fun size bag. It's not even like a good full
Not
big
even a
bag.
gas station.
No, it's a small bag of flaming hot Cheetos, like suspended inside of this tomb. Really.
it's suspended.
Yeah.
I was wondering what those lines were.
Yeah, so it's suspended in there. I don't know why the purpose of that. I don't know if gravity
suspended
has
part
like,
kinda
touching.
cracked
I don't
me
know.
up.
Keep it from touch.
Safe from
Yeah.
spontaneous combustion.
So, so essentially, he has like an inscription on the top of this thing, and his goal is for someone in the future to obviously unbury this and find this whole inscription on top just to mess with someone that he left flaming hot Cheetos in a sarcophagus.
That's hilarious.
And the best part of it is they interviewed this guy. And, you know, like some people would be like, oh, it's art. It's supposed to be meaningful. No, his response was, I just do these meme art projects as a fun side hobby. They literally have no purpose.
They literally have no purpose.
It says it's sometimes nice doing something that doesn't have a purpose. I don't think every piece of art needs to have a great purpose. It can just be silly and make you giggle. And there you go.
That's
So
cool.
It says the exact location is the secret. He didn't want people to
Good.
go find it and,
dig it up.
dig it
a little
up
too
before.
soon.
But it is in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. So
Small area.
small.
200
yeah.
years later,
Yeah, I really
someone
hope
pulls
in the
this up.
future.
Do you think they're going to be disappointed?
Oh, 100%. They're going to hit that. You're
Well,
going to be
obvious-
digging and he goes, ting. And
Yeah.
you're like, we found gold. And they open it up. It's just this really stale bag of Cheetos.
or they think the body that was in there disintegrated at
Oh.
that point.
So the
I
bag
don't know
is
what
actually
happens
in
with our
resin.
bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think they'll be stale.
I don't know if he like poured it.
Yeah,
like,
but
did he pour the bag in resin
Yeah.
or is it just enclosed in
He
resin?
poured the bag in resin, like it's a little block of resin.
Okay.
And then the resin is what's suspended. This is your own article and you didn't read it.
Well, I looked at it and I thought it was just sitting there in a
No, and
resin
then he
box.
it's
suspended
gonna
the
go
resin.
stale.
I think they'll still be disappointed when they eat it.
Yeah, I think your answer to your question is they open that up.
I think,
and-
yeah. Even if they got the idea like, oh, wow, someone saved, their snack
Yeah.
for me to eat.
No, that.
And be like, wow, they lived a rough life back then.
Yeah.
Also, if I dig up a food, I'm not gonna eat it. I want to know somebody who would. Who
Alan
would at
would.
this table?
Alan
Alan.
would.
I might eat it.
Well, 200 years later,
Yeah.
and they're going to be like, they had this much Cheetos in a bag of Cheetos?
Also, if I was him, I'd put
Because
a
it keeps
different
getting
year
less
on
and
it.
less every year.
So I didn't watch the video. I mean, the article doesn't say it, and I'm watching the video, but I'm not very far into it. Does it actually say what the inscription is on the top of the sarcophagus?
Here you go. I found a picture of it. So it's the ingredients.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's flaming hot
Wow.
Cheetos, and
That's
underneath it is just the ingredients.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, though. Like enriched cornmeal.
They're gonna look back
And
and, be
then-
like, "We know
Think of the effort this
all the
young man put
Americans
into
died
this.
off because they ate too many."
Oh, watch the video. It
hot
shows the
Cheetos.
effort.
It says artificial
made the
color
sarcophagus.
40, like yellow 6.
When was the last time you put that much effort into anything?
He spent 4 months making this thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Insane.
need to know what he does for a living. Well, now
it,
you know.
it does say what he does.
What does he do?
His 9 to 5 is he works as an animator in usually in his art studio.
Interesting.
But,
Making a name for
Well,
himself.
Yeah.
Now I know who to contact. Should I need a
Sarcophagus.
3,000 pound
Sarcophagus.
sarcophagus.
Yes.
Or a bag of Cheetos.
I almost said esophagus.
Esophagus.
Oh, man. Okay. James, you had an article
I
on
did.
sandals.
I did.
he had
You
Alan's
had an
like,
article.
and we're done. So I've always joked about people who are just so adamant, like, oh, iPhone's the best, no matter what, Apple products are the best, right? About their lemmings, right? They're product lemmings. Because they're the people that will buy whatever the latest Apple product is and spend time watching the Apple
These are the
keynotes.
opinions held by James, not by Real Talk Incorporated.
Right.
Apple keynotes and do everything Apple no matter what we're talking about. And
That's
so,
not me.
Steve Jobs, the founder or the co-founder of Apple,
He would like to think he was the founder.
he would
I
like to
don't
think
know
he's
who
the
the
founder.
other person is.
Steve Wozniak.
You should watch Jobs. It's a really, really great movie.
That's good.
Once again,
So-
we do not condone watching
do not
movies,
condone watching-
period.
So he had this pair of Birkenstock sandals, and it's just in the picture, it's just kind of disgusting looking at these things because they were from the 70s and they are well used, is the description of them. And they were Steve Jobs sandals. And so they went up at auction, right? And you're like, okay. And like, for those of you that don't know, Birkenstocks have like this cork sole on them. And so the more you wear them, the more they break in, the more they like conform to your feet, which is why people love Birkenstocks so much. So they auctioned these things off, hoping to, I can't even remember what they said the money went to. Probably cancer, something or other, because that's what Steve Jobs died from. But anyway, they auctioned these things off thinking, we expected them to bring $60,000. The final price, $218,750. And the buyer was not named. Of course not. I wouldn't want to be embarrassed that I just paid almost $250,000 for old, used, disgusting sandals. Ew. But it's like, what Apple lemming spent $218,000?
How do you know it was Apple? Maybe it's someone who loves Birkenstocks.
Sure.
Yeah, you can go buy a pair that are going to conform to your own feet.
Not Steve Jobs, though.
Exactly.
Those were
So
his.
it was a Steve Jobs. It was an Apple fanatic, I think.
I think you're biased.
If the money really
Just a
did
little.
go to something good, like cancer research, whatever, okay, fair enough. We all have done things like that, right? We spent an inordinate amount of money on something that we shouldn't have just because of what it was going to.
Not for a good cause, but maybe I spent too much
A mountain
money on
bike.
something.
In your case, you spent it on a mountain bike.
Right.
But some of the rest of us might have spent money and like a stupid amount of money on something just because it was going to a good cause. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? $220,000 basically on a used pair of almost 50-year-old sandals.
Man, I don't know. Some people would say that's art.
Yeah, it's a bargain.
Just like my Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Would you bury
but
them in a
sometimes
3,000-pound sarcophagus?
Some people would just display these and be like, you want to come over and see my Steve Jobs Birkenstocks?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People do weird things.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned that this pair of Birkenstocks still exists. I mean, he died 11 years ago. The shoes are from the 70s. Yeah. Why were they not tossed at some point before then?
I don't know. They look pretty rough.
They do. They should have been tossed.
But my favorite part is like they're being kept in this like heavy duty Pelican.
With the foam around it.
Case.
And the auction was Idols and Icons Rock and Roll auction.
Yep. There you go. He's an idol.
Idol worshippers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Jobs, big name. He's very successful, transformed America
I would rather
and
have
the world.
That's right.
I think if I was an Apple lover, and an Apple nerd, I would rather have like some of his notes or like his first
or his
phone.
iPhone.
Yeah, something like that. A pair of his shoes that
I'm sure
smell.
those are all in
they
museums.
They
smell.
probably cost a little more money.
That's the thing. You
If
can
his
look at the
sandals were
picture.
200,000, then his notes are going to be a little bit more.
You look at the picture and like you can see the gross, disgusting foot imprint and the gross foot oils. I'm like, ugh.
Hey, do you guys want to buy any of my shoes for me?
They go for $200,000.
Yeah.
Is there anyone whose sandals you would buy?
No.
Jesus is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just assumed he was barefoot a lot.
That was,
you just Jesus.
I think everybody thought of that at the same time.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, if you were spiritual, if you're a Christian, you would have thought of that. Would you buy, if they were Jesus' sandals, would you spend $218,000 on them?
No.
Oh, I'd be outbid.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I'd get outbid.
Yeah. That'd be quite the loan.
I would
Alan,
probably put
we
$3
don't work in
down.
discipleship. We don't make that kind of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let me take care of it.
Yeah. You do have the Wall Street Journal subscription. So.
Yeah.
I do. For
Us
this show, I
plebs
have
over
it.
here who don't have Wall Street Journal plebs.
Plebeian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the deep dish.
So, the deep dish, I would like to take credit for it, but since
All right.
what happened was David slammed my original idea for what we should talk about.
I didn't slam
and
it.
probably everyone
It's like
silently
WWE.
agreed because no one came to my defense and said, no, Alan's article is better.
I was getting ready. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so-
Sure.
So anyways, the last 24 hours or maybe last 12 hours, David's been disagreeing with about every idea that I've had.
My favorite was the text message you sent in the group that said, "You hate me."
He does. He hates me. But we can at least pretend to like one another for at least 45 minutes. So, no,
I mean,
Dave-
we've been going for 30. So
We
got 15
We got
minutes.
15
Closing
minutes
in.
left.
So here's the article.
And then the purge.
If you guys, if you're not, if you don't really watch a lot of TV news on
The TV.
TV about actors and actresses and stuff like this, you may not be aware of this. You guys don't even watch TV anymore.
Where's he going with this? I do.
You watch on YouTube.
Nope. We have cable.
Do you? Mm-hmm. So Candace Cameron Bure,
Bure.
Bure,
Beret.
and what is she known for? She's known as being on
DJ.
Full House, right?
DJ
DJ on
Tanner.
Full House.
DJ Tanner.
And so
I know her for several Hallmark films as well.
I know her as
Yes.
Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Cameron's little sister.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
she's much more than that.
Yep. So, but she became famous in Full House as a young lady, and now she's a grown up. And over the last 6 months, maybe she's been in the news quite a bit,
I feel like that's
Yeah.
accurate.
something like
There's
that.
been a
6
couple
months
of
to a
things,
year.
yeah.
So yeah, she's been on Hallmark forever. She's done like 50 something movies for them, I believe.
They're all wonderful.
Yeah, says
I've
all the
probably
ladies.
watched all of them.
Yeah. So yeah, for us guys, we can be thankful that there's one less actress that does
No,
a
there's a
Hallmark
couple.
movie. Yeah.
They poached a couple.
That's
so.
true. Yep. So the criticism is one, she's moved over from Hallmark to the new faith base. Was it
Great American Family.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great American Family, which is more of a faith-based type channel. And we'll get into the background of that a little bit, but she's been unpopular for other view. She was on The View, and shared her view on defending the Oregon Bakery, their decision to not do a wedding cake for a same-sex couple. And but the article that we are putting out there is the one from CNN, where she is wanting to put Christ back in Christmas and promoting this new Christmas movies and Christmas specials that are on this new channel. So, anyways, I want to start off just asking you guys, one, what do you think about all the backlash that she's had? Is it justified? Do you think it's just more Christian bashing? One thing I saw that she was called a bigot for some of her views on marriage. So what are your general thoughts before we dive into?
Well, I think it's ironic, right? Because she's just doing something that she's passionate about. But if you don't agree with what she's doing, then she's considered a bigot, and she receives a lot of backlash. But however, if she was doing what everyone else in Hollywood was doing and was accepting all these immoral changes, from our point of view, immoral changes, then we would be calling her, right, a bigot. And so the irony is there. But also, like, she wouldn't receive the backlash if she just went along with how a lot of Hollywood goes. And so I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's justified. But I think, of all people, she comes from a family of believers, right? So she's used to it at this point, and it's unfortunate, but I think she's strong enough to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting topic of the fact that we're looking to Candace Cameron Bure to put Christ back into Christmas movies.
DJ Tanner saves us all.
And so that's quite a daunting task to do, especially in the culture today. That's one, no longer showing like Rudolph on TV and even Charlie Brown, because the horrible corporation named Apple bought out the rights to Charlie Brown,
And so they won't show it anymore.
and they can't show it anymore on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, I just watched
But I mean,
the
I
one
would,
little episode where it was about Christ in Christmas.
it doesn't. It won't surprise me if they won't, like, if Apple didn't buy the rights to that, they would stop showing that on TV as well. But I don't know. It's just interesting to, as a culture, we're looking to these holiday movies to get our fill of Christianity.
Yeah.
And this has become an issue or a thing that's come up in pop culture, that it's important, quote unquote, that Candace Cameron is bringing Christmas or Christ back to Christmas.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of see it two ways like you do, David. I'm agreeing with you right now. I'm an olive branch.
This is a really big moment.
I feel the same way as I do with a lot of Christian music. You really don't know much about the artist who's written the song and singing it and everything else. And I think we do know a little bit more about Candace. In one way, I admire her because she's a Christian and she's living out her faith in the public eye, which is
She's
very
very
difficult.
open about it too.
Yeah, she's open about it. I don't think she's mean about it or disrespectful about it. I think she's just unapologetically trying to live out her faith and produce material that that might be something that people with traditional Christian values would enjoy. So I don't even know if she's trying to save Christmas, but she's trying to put Christ back into Christmas. And so, I think overall,
she's just trying to be herself, right? And so, like her brother is a very outspoken Christian. Her brother has been on the circuit doing talks about marriage and the truth about marriage and the truth about relationships and sticking to a traditional conservative view of what marriage is. And so he's been heavily criticized. I worked at a church that hosted him a couple of times for those conferences, and we were being picketed nonstop by people who believed in alternative lifestyles because they did not agree with his very conservative point of view. And the thing is, Candace did the same things. It just maybe isn't as well known as Kirk because, Kirk was very public about it. But Candace went around doing conservative Christian women's events for like Lifeway and, so she's on that same circuit as like Priscilla Shirer and all that kind of stuff. And then she got back involved in Hallmark TV movies, right? And so it's kind of like, all right, cool. So she's here, great. And then she started just being criticized in the news for being a believer. Yeah. But she's just being herself. And because she's being herself and because she's sticking to her values, she's under attack. And so I think for her to make a shift from something like being on Hallmark, which isn't necessarily, we'd like to think, oh, Hallmark movies are all great, but the Hallmark channel, the Hallmark Network isn't necessarily conservative in its views. For her to do something like this, good for her. Good for her. Should we be depending on her to put Christ back in Christmas? No. But I think this is an article that exists because she's been so public.
Right.
She has been in the public eye so much, especially for her faith. So they're trying to tie her faith back to putting Christ back in Christmas. But hey, if we want to hitch our wagon to that and do the same thing and make sure we're putting Christ back in Christmas, let's do it.
Yeah. And if you want to ruin your career in anything, just come out as a Christian with traditional values. So what's the solution for us as Christians? We live in a world where it's becoming harder to hold traditional Christian worldviews, topic of marriage right here. So what do we do as Christians? Do you think it's going to get easier? Or do you think it's going to get harder?
Definitely harder. But
before it gets better, it's probably going to get worse.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe it's just we need to stop trying to be like a stronghold in pop culture, especially in like movies and such, because we can all agree that we can probably count on one hand that a good Christian, quote unquote, Christian movie has come out that that is actually good. We're not helping ourselves in that realm.
When we say
they're
good,
getting
we mean
better.
not cheesy.
Yeah, they're getting better. I mean, even though there's some controversy around The Chosen, I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
I think it's done so well. I don't mind them for striving to be better.
Right.
And I think just how we go about it.
Yeah.
Because even in this article that we were reading, there's a paragraph about Candace being a personal brand. Like she's branded herself as the Christian brand and using that for her benefit. And there's no wrong in being a Christian and being a business person, but also I feel like there's some pandering and exploitation of the Christian population to the point where we can use that as a way to benefit ourselves. The whole paragraph was about her selling her fashion, her saying like she's promoting her clothes, but then using a Bible verse to do that. Honestly, I don't know how a good way to do that without making it feel like pandering.
Yeah, that's a tough line right there.
It's a real tough line.
I don't know enough about her to be able to comment on that one, but that would be tough. I mean, it's probably a lot of the stuff that she's doing is very good, but I'm sure that there's a line that can be crossed.
And it's just odd. I mean, so much of our culture, we just brand everything, right? So Forever 21, when it started, is a Christian company. You know,
What?
yeah.
Really?
I didn't know that.
They've got scripture on the bottom of their bags. So you look at their clothes, though, and you would not guess because
Nope.
modest is not always hottest for them. And so they were able to somehow identify as Christian, but it not become their brand, and they were still profitable. And so it kind of is cruddy that Candace almost has to identify and becomes branded as a Christian in Hollywood, because why can't you just be, yes, your faith is part of your identity, as it should be, but why can't you just be yourself? But it happens to so many celebrities, I think. Like I even think of Taylor Swift, and just everything she supports is part of her brand. It's part of the Taylor brand. You know when you go to a Dixie Chicks concert, what's going to happen. They made it really clear who they are, what they believe
Aren't
is
they
part
just
of
the chicks now?
I'm
Yeah.
calling them the Dixie Chicks still. So when you go to their concert, you know what's going to happen. They have branded themselves as people who believe these things, and they're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just kind of a shame that this pandering becomes a part of just who you are.
And part of that is the industry. Like if we were all, actors and actresses, think about what movies you would choose and what roles you would and what you would not, and what environment you would want to be in, and how uncomfortable it would be, how hard it would be to be in that industry and to live out your Christian values. I think we would all be pigeonholed into going that route, or just not being an actor or actress.
Right.
It's like you've got to pick a lane because you're forced to. You're forced to pick a lane.
Right.
And I would say 95% go in this lane. And everyone else is like, if you have these values, you're in this lane,
Go in the lane less traveled.
And we kind of talked about it a little bit beforehand, is just this idea of now in our culture, there's a stigma when we change our minds on things.
Yeah.
Because, Candace spent all this time making movies at Hallmark. Not necessarily that they're bad or promoting something bad, but then she changed her mind and said, okay, I'm going to do something different. But then even her going to this new network has brought, backlash towards her, just because, yes, she's doing the same thing, but she's changing her mind on like, okay, how am I supposed to do this? And I feel like in our culture, we can't have an opinion and then hearing someone else say their opinion and changing our minds about it. And then now you're just have no backbone.
And Hallmark is moving in a different direction.
Correct.
Just like Disney is I guess over the years, decades, slowly moved in a direction, now quickly moving. I think Hallmark is doing the same thing. So she's making a decision like, time for me to jump ship. I don't think I can go in this direction.
Well, that brings up another question of like, okay, you said how as Christians are we to approach this issue? It almost feels like now it's the only way for someone in pop culture is to silo themselves from the culture itself.
Right.
So now they're creating this whole network that is Christian values, but then now they're just siloing themselves away from everything else.
Yeah.
So
It's
what would you say towards that?
Yeah. You can't mix the two
Right.
anymore. Like you've got stations they're only going to play shows that line up with their beliefs. Where like Charlie Brown and Rudolph, why can't those just be played on your local television shows anymore?
Right.
Right.
Well, and I was thinking about this. The whole idea of Candace Cameron Bure being this like flag that we're going to cheer on, right? You think about whenever Ye decided, okay, I'm going to be a Christian. You think about whenever there were rumors that Justin Bieber was a Christian.
It is. I got corrected. It is Ye.
It is Ye. I figured it was because it was Kanye.
Yeah, it is Ye.
It wouldn't make any sense for him to completely change his name.
Right.
Anyway, so like you think about the fact that anytime somebody who is a super famous celebrity, okay, and many of us may not think of Candace Cameron Bure as being like, superstar level,
right?
But she was DJ for like, however many
years. 90s kids.
Yes. And so, but we get excited about the idea or the potential of someone who's a believer being in a position of influence in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And so like Chris Pratt has been in the headlines because of his beliefs. Your boy, Tim Allen has been in the headlines because of his beliefs, and there's, I think it's Patricia Heaton has been in the headlines because of her beliefs. These are celebrities that, have either professed Christ or whatever, and then we do one of two things. We either rally behind them and put them on a pedestal, or we criticize them and say, there's no way. Look at what they've done with their life. There's no way they're a believer. And like you said, okay, so we also were sinners at one point, and then God saved us. So there could be a transformation in our lives. But so whenever you get stuck in a culture like what Hollywood is, and this could be for whatever culture you're in, it's exaggerated and exacerbated because of Hollywood, but you have to make the choice. Do you continue associating with and doing the same things you did, or do you make a change because you're a believer? And what do? We rally behind them if we think, we want them to be our voice, or there's no way that person could be saved, right? And so just think of the chaos that someone who's in that limelight, in that celebrity is dealing with, and what it looks like for them to experience that. So like in this case, I mean, I don't think I fault her for making the shift. I mean, she even said in the article, she was quoted as saying, this network is very different than it was when I first started, and there's been a change of leadership, and they're going different directions. I mean, for us here, if we had a pastor change, and all of a sudden we started supporting things that we, as a church, that we are like, this, I don't agree with that. That's not in my Bible. We'd probably all jump ship and go somewhere else. So I can't criticize her for doing the same thing. And then there would be people that said, well, you worked at that church and look what they support. Yeah, but they didn't support that when I worked there. And so I think we just have to be careful.
It's hard.
Analyzing a little bit too much when we think about that.
That also begs the question, is fame and popularity sinful?
Jesus was famous.
But now he wasn't seeking fame.
No, he wasn't seeking it.
I'm saying seeking fame. Is that?
I don't
because
want to be famous.
Literally the only way to succeed in that industry is to gather fame.
Yeah, unless you're a talented actor or actress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
you have a few.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
I think sometimes a lot of people, what's sad to me when it comes to celebrities, that they fall into fame. They didn't expect to become so popular. And then by the time it happens, they're so lost. And you see, Aaron Carter recently. Yeah. There's someone who probably in the moment was caught up. This sounds really exciting. And then couldn't handle it. He didn't know what he was seeking at that point and just lost his purpose. And so when I observe Candace Cameron, it's easier to see that I think she is intentional in what she's doing. And therefore I would, from my outsider's perspective, would say she's not seeking fame, which I do think is sinful,
right? But
she's seeking to use her identity in her faith for a good intention.
Gain influence.
And I think that at the end of the day, like the goal for her seems to be like kingdom growth, like creating this network where families can watch TV shows as families once again, and it's wholesome and it's good year round, and it puts Christ back in Christmas during the holidays. Then I think that's phenomenal. Yeah. And going back to the question of what do we do? Like, what's our role in this? I think support is massive. And we're starting to see that play out in television too. People choosing to watch something else over, Monday Night Football or whatever. And
no, well,
that's
a bad example. But
no, it's the award shows. Like the award shows have been tanking, and
like there's all kinds of
networks,
stuff.
Ratings
even like
tanking and
regular TV shows that people are like, this is a good show, and you're pushing, agendas here or whatever. Right. So they're starting to see a lot more of that. I want wholesome television kind of coming back. But recently I stopped shopping at a store, and I never do this. And it's very out of character for me, because honestly, if I made a list of all the places I couldn't shop at, I wouldn't shop, which my husband would appreciate. But I just stopped shopping there because I wasn't pleased with how they actually had a man come on who's transgender and speak about womanhood. And I'm not okay with that. Yeah. You're not a woman at the end of the day, and you don't get to tell me how to live my life as a woman, because you are not one. And that is coming from
a man won Woman of the Year.
I know.
Just took him a couple months.
I know.
It's Ron Swanson.
And so it's hard for me to go back into that store to buy the products that this man was pushing. Yeah. And anyways, I pay more for shipping. I have no problem doing that, because I cannot give them my money at this point. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think we're just seeing that more, and it's getting tougher for believers to decide where to draw the line.
Yeah. I wrote down several notes, and I put like reality. I think that as Christians, like the church, I grew up in the age of like seeker-sensitive, seeker-passionate church where we did everything with the eyes of how can we reach people outside the walls of the church, and even kind of been guilty of placating and trying to be a cool church or whatever else, because I just grew up in lame, fall asleep kind of church, very old school, traditional. And so that was just kind of a wave and maybe the pendulum swinging in one direction. But I think we're going to enter into a season where the paradigm shift is going to be away from that. And it's going to be like a purified church. You're not going to go to church unless you really, really want to. There's not going to be a lot of benefit for, quote, a nominal Christian to go to church. There's going to be too many negatives, and I think it's going to pare down the church, and that's going to be sad and hard for us to digest as Christians, but I don't think the mega church is going to be something that's going to be very common in the future. Or it may be that we have more mega churches and not very many churches of 50 to 100.
The community church because people want to band together. So
yeah, and so it's going to be. I think we're entering a different time as church, and we're going to have to. I have to think differently. My generation's going to have to think differently in that way, and I think that we're going to have to count the cost. We're forced to count the cost of being a Christian.
Yeah, and I think there's one thing that I think the culture actually has right. Is this notion of authenticity is important. It's starting to grow as an importance in the culture.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, the authenticity is according to what you believe.
Right. I was going to say, because it's not authentic to have a man.
No.
Advertising
but I'm saying,
as a woman.
like, people can tell if you're authentic or not.
Yeah.
And I think that is starting to become more and more important. And like you said, for the church themselves, the importance here, and I guess for if she ends up listening to this, hi, is to be authentic in what you're doing, not necessarily trying to push an agenda, but just be authentic. And like you said, let you be yourself in the fact that you're believing in what you're believing for Christianity purposes, not necessarily just believing in your truth. Yeah. But if you're really wanting to push a Christian lifestyle and a mindset, is to be authentic, and like we've said multiple times, is that meet people where they're at and build relationships, not necessarily trying to push something on somebody. Which I can very well see this going as like this network is really just pushing this Christian ideal on just people, and nowadays that doesn't work. It's more relationship building. I don't know how you can build a relationship with a TV network, but what we need to do as Christian is to be authentic in our faith.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing that's coming out of all this.
Yes. It's just kind of burning off the chaff of like superficial things.
Any other thoughts on that? I've got a lot. I think it's going to be boring for most people though.
What? Just say your thoughts.
I think that as Christians, we're going to have to learn from our brothers and sisters in other countries.
Yeah.
Like in East Asia, Middle East. I think we have a lot that we've never experienced before. And it may not ever get as bad as some of those countries where they're actually being put to death. But I mean, and that is happening rampantly around the world. But I think we're going to have to learn from our brothers and sisters in Christ in different parts of the world where they have been living in a similar type setting or worse, for decades, for long periods of time. And so I think that's one thing as Christians we ought to do. We ought to probably start reading some books from Christians from other countries, and they're out there. We need to learn how to articulate our faith in an effective way. It's in my mind, it's not just a matter of telling truth. We want to be truthful. It needs to be truth. But we really need to think about how do we communicate this to a world that's becoming more and more lost, where our views are becoming more and more extreme, and being able to articulate why we believe what we believe. And that's not always easy. Being a lazy Christian is not going to work. And then I didn't flesh this one out, but you might have to create your own culture, start your own business if you can't make it in the business that you're in, or if you're finding it hard, maybe You're gonna have to start your own culture. Do something different. We're gonna have to get creative if we're gonna be asked 2 or 3 questions. Do you believe this? Do you believe this? Do you believe that? We can't work here? Interview questions. If it gets so hard, are you a Christian? Oh, you go to church? Well, what do you think about this? It could be harder. So we're going to have to become more creative. That sounds really, really sad and dark, but I'm just
at that point, we've talked about the downfalls of siloing. Would that be a silo in itself?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. And I've been the one, but you may not have a choice.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about that, maybe not on Real Talk, but we talked about that from the aspect of as believers who work in the church, right? We don't often get the opportunities that people that don't work in the church get, where they have coworkers they can share the gospel with and all that kind of stuff. So for people that actually work in the church, we have to be more intentional about making relationships with people outside the church, so that we can, have a witness and we can share the gospel. And so then you start doing that where you're like, okay, well, my company is only Christians. You're right. It just means you have to be more intentional about
just being clear. These are our values.
Yeah, just to make sure the intentionality doesn't lead to, or your siloing doesn't lead to a lack of intentionality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I used to be a proponent of put your kids in public schools. We don't need to take people out. We need Christians in there, but it's like it's getting so hard, to where I don't know if I would hold those same views anymore. Again, I think my own
How dare you change your mind?
I know.
It's not allowed.
I know. And it's not in a direction that I'm really excited about, to be honest,
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm getting in my older years and seeing where we're going, I'm getting much more cautious because I didn't see the long-term impact. And so it's just, it's one of those things that's really sad. And I'm an optimistic person, and I am in the long run. Obviously, we know the end of the story, and Jesus, comes back and he reclaims what he first created. But in the meantime, we've got to be careful as Christians, especially as you guys, starting families, having families, and being responsible for kids. If God blesses you with kids, all those things, big responsibilities. So, wow, we went there from Candace. Candace Oates. I kept on wanting to say that. Candace Cameron. So, any closing thoughts, comments?
No, I think we
Team Candace.
Yeah,
We
pray
enjoy.
for those who are out there who are Christians, even if they are. When I first heard what was happening with Kanye, I was just like, oh boy, potentially here comes the next flash in the pan. And I would just need to pray for him. Young Christian, still trying to flesh it out, and he has to do it in the public eye. And that's going to happen, from time to time, and pray that he figures it all out.
I think just to finalize too is just stop putting these people on pedestals.
Yeah. Yeah, they're human beings.
Yeah.
Pray for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was good. That was a good one, David. That was a good suggestion. I liked it.
You kept changing your mind.
I did. I sent like 4 different articles. I'm like, maybe this one, maybe this one. But
no, I thought it was good. All right, guys. Well, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and eat some frog-eyed salad. Salad. Try something different this year.
Yep.
And eat some Jell-O, whatever. But yeah, have a great week. And we're going to take a week off the week after Thanksgiving.
Yep. Because we usually record on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And that is on Thanksgiving. So we're not going to do it.
So we'll see you back. We'll see you in December.
And like and subscribe and share and comment and rate in all the things that people say on these videos.
Yep.
And happy
Get the bell on.
Yeah. Like below and all that other stuff.
Smash
Comment
it.
over there.
Smash the like button.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.